This chapter provides a brief introduction to early modern intelligence gathering and the world of the spy master. For an introduction to the history behind this chapter, please listen to Season 2 of the podcast and the episode The World of Spies and Intelligence, where I provide a brief overview of the different kinds of intelligence in the early modern period, as well as introduce some basic techniques commonly known to spy masters at the time. Meldrum quite rightly understands that despite his trials and tribulations, that he was fast becoming a trusted member of the group through his introduction to their methods of sharing classified intelligence. It is important to note that the Guard operate under a closed system of intelligence, that is, amongst the men themselves and the King's head of intelligence, Jean-Baptiste Colbert. However, it must also be noted that the men are held by standards and procedures which ensure fairness and certainty in the gathering of intelligence and the monitoring of suspected persons, as any intelligence found must be confirmed by corroborative evidence. Therefore, any suspected persons of interest are not just so on the whim and will of the Guard, but there has to be valid evidence for a person or persons to be of interest. At every level of the intelligence system, there were processes and procedures that kept the system protected. Hamilton kept details of intelligence in his head, using minimal notes, despite the regularity of his meetings with government officials and the king during a single week. These notes would be written in a cipher, which was only understood by the men in the Guard themselves. Later in the chapter, we also discover that should any information be transmitted orally, there should be code words that would be unintelligible to the average person, but mean something to the members of the Guard. We also learn that the use of common languages such as French, Latin and English are forbidden. Even Irish and Scottish Gaelic was forbidden to be used in these circumstances. The ciphers used would be changed on a regular basis, and intelligence information was only to be exchanged in designated places. And these places would also change on a regular basis. The office in which intelligence is transcribed resembles a royal apartment, and as we later find out, it was a safe room for Louis XIV in times of trouble, with a secret passage which is directly connected to Hamilton's office. We are also introduced to some very well known and common ways to share information in secret in the early modern period, through the use of writing correspondence using lemon juice. Again, to learn more about this, listen to Season 2 of the podcast, The World of Spies and Intelligence. Finally, Meldrum is tested in his ability to crack the code and transcribe ciphers. Indeed, this was not an easy task in the early modern period, especially for a novice, but clearly Meldrum has a talent for it, as he managed to perfectly transcribe 2 pages of cipher in a short period of time. Meldrum puts this down to his time as a minister, where he memorized large sections of text for his sermons, but we suspect that there is something far more to this than first appears.
This podcast is the copyright of History Gateway Limited, UK.